I would imagine the kinds of students you're talking about don't really necessarily want to go to school in a normal setting, perhaps. And so there's a great deal of absenteeism, tardiness, just simply, I don't care, come and get me, I don't care.
Again, on the residential side, we have our own school, we have our in-house program, so the attendance there is,
Right.
100%. But on the school side,
Right.
interesting enough, our middle school, which is located at the previous Mount Calvary, we rent space from them, their school attendance is 96%.
Wow.
On the high school level, it's a little bit, we're around 78%, and it is a little bit more difficult because the kids that we're getting, the primary group is more than 2 years behind academically, behavioral or not. So for whatever reason, a traditional school setting has really not met their needs.
Right.
So what we've had to do is to assess where are they at and put together an individual learning plan that's going to best meet their needs for graduation. When we initially developed the charter school, the goal was to get kids to graduate, and we've been in operation for 9 years. Mm-hmm. We've graduated over 550 kids, so we have met that goal. So now what we're doing is teaching kids levels of skills. So we're teaching kids soft skills right on site. One of our sites, we rent space at Level Place. We have a relatively large, there's 270 kids there. There's a working kitchen, there's a culinary arts program, there's a work experience program, there is a music program, there is a graphic design program. So we're teaching kids soft skills right. Every teacher is focusing on and working towards teaching those soft skills. We then have jobs for kids right on site. As an example, for the Workforce Investment Board, we run the coffee shop on the first floor on 8th and Sassafras. Mm-hmm. The new owner of Level Place, I think, is going to ask us to do the same kind of thing. Okay. So then we are then pushing kids out in our building to be able to have them to really work at a job that we're paying them. Ultimately, at the third level, to push them out into the community to be able to work. We have kids at St. Vincent's. We have kids at Metz Foods. So we have kids that are out there that actually would have a job before they even graduate.
Wow. Somewhat of a base to this, I can hear the people saying through the television camera there, well, where are their parents? What the heck's the matter with these people? When I was that age, that would have never happened. Boy, if I misbehaved in school, I come home, my father or my mother would have knocked my block off. I would have never gotten away with that nonsense. Why are we just not sticking it to these kids and showing them who's boss?
There's a lot of people that are saying that, and I would say to you that the answer for me really lies within families. And so as a result of that, we do a lot of work with families. We engage families. We need to get families to understand that it is their responsibility to raise their child. This is a developmental time. That is a protected time. And so therefore we need to protect our kids. And so we do a lot of intensive work with families. So as an example, let's go back to the evidence-based practice for a minute. In that aggression replacement training, there's a strong social skills component. We bring parents and kids together. The kids group is working on expressing a complaint. The parents group is working on responding to a complaint, and then we bring them together and they role play that germane to their lives. So we're teaching not only the kids' competencies, but we're teaching the parents' competency. Some of the parents may have the competencies and just for whatever reason choose not to use them. Some parents don't even have the competencies. So we work extremely hard with families and parents to get them to align and take the responsibility for their children.
Are medications assigned to some students, and it helps them to get to a point where you want them to get to socially, psychologically, educationally? And would they be perhaps inclined to say that you probably should be on this maybe for the rest of your life? I mean, I don't know. That's a very broad question.
Yeah, sure. It
But
depends.
I guess what I'm saying is you're not coming in here and going, oh, that Amendola, what a pain in the he is here. Give him that pill. That'll settle him down. That's just not being done, is it? I mean, it's not. It's being done very carefully if it's done.
It's being done very carefully. We kind of take, it's easy to say, what's wrong with you? We kind of ask the question, what happened to you through the course of time and what's going on? And from that psychiatric point of view, we have a medical director, we have psychiatrists that are on staff, we have a neuropsych on staff, psychologist. But it really is at the assessment, and it depends on admission into that particular program. The psychiatric programs, those kids would be probably on more psychotropics, more meds that were needed to be monitored. But we have a lot of kids that are not on any medications at all, all, so it is really behaviorally orientated. So how do you get the kids to understand that they need to change their behavior to be successful along with the parents, because it is their job. There's been so much new development in neurosciences and the understanding of how do we learn. And we really do, at least for me, I'm a believer in social learning theory, and we learn in our environments. And the whole concept of neuroplasticity and the idea of that our brain, that our transmitters are kind of neuroplastic. We can change the way we see and look at things. My grandmother didn't have a clue about it, okay? But when she said to me, hey Mark, you keep doing that, you're gonna develop bad habits, that's exactly what she was talking about. So it is our environment. So if we create these pro-social environments, and we create these environments where kids can learn these competencies, then there's a higher chance that they're going to go out into the workforce and be ready to be healthy tax-paying citizens.
Which leads to my next question about the environment in which they revolve and migrate and do all kinds of things. It's the media, the internet, the Twitter, the Facebook, the instant communication of the text phone. It's YouTube. It can be the very violent video games which they can be subject to playing. It is the shows on TV, a Teenage Mom. All of this is coming at them. And what filter do you put in place to help them deal with that?
Sure.
Movies,
Let's kind of go back to that is a parent's responsibility, number one, but I think the residual, and there's all kinds of research out there now that says that those types of images do have a negative impact on kids at some level. For us, what we see that there is this desensitization of environments, that it's just not that big of a deal to see whatever you see on the internet or on a television. It's just not that big of a deal. 15 people are killed in a car bombing in the Gaza Strip. It's horrific. We should be horrified by that, okay, as human beings. And it just becomes, that's not that big of a deal. It even gets on CNN and gets scrolled down to this little thing that rolls across the bottom and gets minimized to what it does. So we have to give kids alternatives. We have to teach kids that there are these other alternatives out there. The fact is, everything you mentioned there is a reality of our lives. We think of how many kids, even from 5 years ago, who had cell phones that now have cell phones, ages 8 to 18. The number is phenomenal, and it is what we have to deal with. But I think that, unfortunately, that residual impact is desensitization.
Yeah, it is. I think it is desensitized. Yeah, I think we've all been desensitized to the accident. Well, I don't know that person. They weren't injured. Oh, that's okay. There's another one, and there's another one, and people argue, is that really news? Because the real news is what you and I are talking about, but that's not flashy, and the video's not going to lend itself to that. No, we're talking about some abstractions that are out there. We got a couple more minutes left, and if you had your druthers, and what would you like to see happen to Perseus House? What would you like to see it go, do, be?
Yeah, we've had a lot of growth on the educational side, and I think that we have been able to put together a model for kids that is different than traditional schools. Schools have not changed for 100 years in terms of the model.
I'm glad you're going to mention that. A lot of people have said that the school that we see today is still based on the industrial model.
No doubt.
You come to school, in fact, you come to school to service an industry when you get out of school, which is not there anymore in many instances. We still have long summer vacations. We still cling to an agrarian myth that summertime is when you go help with the crops. And the industrial model is just not working anymore because not everybody functions at 7:30 in the morning. And I know I don't, for example. Yeah. I'm at my best in late afternoons and the evenings. When I was on TV regularly, my brain was warp speed at afternoons. Give me in the morning, you have to give me 3 cups of coffee before it even would start.
Sure.
So, and they're on a different time schedule. They're going to bed later, but yet they're being told you have to come in and get to work and get out of school, and how do you combat that?
So it needs to change. And so when we are doing that, we have open settings we have open classrooms. We have kids that can move pretty regularly through those classrooms. We have kids that are picking tracks that they have aptitude for, and we're trying to teach them those tracks then, but it has to look different. If you walk through any one of our sites, you'd see that there was a computer for every 2 kids. I mean, mean, we are kids love technology, and we use a blended model. So we still use, the kids need to read, so we're teaching them how to read, but we use technology to be able to capture them so that they're able to move forward and achieve at a level. So that model has to change, and we are working very hard at that.
I'm glad you said read, because I taught at the college level for a number of times, and I found that there was a lot of students that simply couldn't read and didn't want to read, didn't like to read, and the answer was, I don't have to read because I got a cell phone or I'm on the internet,
Sure.
And it became a real problem restricting the use in the classroom. I had to put in my syllabus, turn it off.
Yes.
Don't even mute it, turn it off, don't even bring it to class. So again, this is Mark Amendola. He is the executive director of Perseus House, and that is a very large umbrella for services. Again, we have about 2 minutes left. Your services go from here to, I know, way out there. But in a couple of minutes you have left, you got a nice summary point for us here, Perseus House?
Our goal has been the same, our vision has been the same, to serve and excel, and we will continue to do that. On the residential side, I don't necessarily see growth on the residential side, but those are kids that have significant problems, and our goal is still to get them to be able to transition to whatever the next side of that might be. On the school side, without a doubt, to excel and serve is exactly the same thing, and that's where we see growth happening without a doubt in the next 5 to 10 years.
And the people out there, can they volunteer to help you? Can they? Do you accept financial donations?
We absolutely do.
Above?
We absolutely do. For anyone that was interested in volunteering or donating or a referral, all they need to do is call 814-480-5900. That's the main number. And if they call there, they can go to our website, perseushouse.org, Perseus house.org, and find a lot of information there.
Right. Mark Amendola, Executive Director. Thanks. We could have a long conversation.
Yep, thank you very
this.
much.
Okay, appreciate it. I'm Phil Fatica. Thanks once again, ladies and gentlemen, for being with us. I want to again say that this is Mark Amendola from Perseus House, and if you have an interest in what it is that he and his workers do for the youth of our community, go to the website, give them a call, volunteer your time. Thanks so much for being with us. Until next time, take care. I'm Phil Fatica.